Friday. We got some FUD coming into the end of the year. What does it mean for crypto? Are we about to see a little bit of a flash crash? Is it something that we actually want to see in the market? I'm thinking that we do. Let's go ahead and get this live stream retweeted. It's over there on at Kelly Kellam or at Academy BitLab. I'm getting this retweeted as we speak. We're going to be diving right into the charts here in about 20 seconds. I'm just getting all the stuff posted. Everybody, roll call. Who is here? Who is paying attention? Let's see what you're feeling today. Drop it in the live chat. Are you bullish or bearish? Is price going to be above where we're at now on the weekly close on Sunday or below where we're at right now on the weekly close on Sunday? Let me see what you're thinking there in the live chat. Let me get this last thing posted here and we're going to get right on into it. Everybody, the moment that we've all been waiting for is basically upon us. It's just a matter of holding on to our butts right now. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. I'm here to break down the markets for you because it feels like right now the markets are breaking down. And it's like, are we going to lose this? Are we going to lose this? What does it mean if we do? Or is this just setting up for another one of those, basically get people committed short, trap them, and then bounce to the upside? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be looking at what's going on with the altcoins. We're going to be going through some TA on quite a few different altcoins as well. But there's some FUD that we have to address of what's going on in the market right now that could have a pretty big impact over the next 2 weeks. And I think it's just as I have on the thumbnail there, I do think it will be a trap setup because I do think we're going to go higher. And I do think we have a bit longer to go for the market to continue pushing up and set new highs, both in Bitcoin and all those favorite altcoins. So shout out to everybody that's here. If you are here, drop something in the live chat. Let me know that you're alive. We got 94 people in the room right now. I know several hundred more, if not 1,000 or so more, will be popping in here between YouTube and Twitter. Shout out to everybody that's here. It's Friday, holiday week still. Liquidity is still a little low, but we got some FUD. We got to address it. So let's dive in to what exactly is going on right now. Because when we're looking at I almost said when we're looking at the internet, when we're looking at the markets, we're sitting here still above $3 trillion. Bitcoin still hovering in that 1.8 trillion mark. Ethereum holding on to 400 billion, and so on and so forth. But this is going to be the major story. And I know you've probably seen it on a number of other channels because I know none of y'all just watch me, and that's good. It's good that you get different voices, but we have to address this, what I think is Tether FUD, in regards to how the market's going to potentially go a little risk off for a little bit, maybe a little bit of a sell-off, maybe a little bit of pressure on liquidity throughout the broader ecosystem in crypto. So what is it? What are we looking at? This is right here. Europeans, pay attention. USDT will be illegal. Will it? From the 30th of December, if you hold USDT in Europe, it might be a good idea to change to different stables. Now, the reason why I brought this up, even though this is essentially incorrect, is because this is going to be a pretty wide thought sentiment that's going to be peppered out throughout people in Europe, but then also all of us that are in the US and Asia and Africa and everywhere else around the world. There's going to be speculation. That's what these markets are, speculative drives with bulls and bears pushing price up and down. There's going to be speculation as to how this is going to impact the market. So there might be a little bit of de-risking. And this comes at a time when we're coming into the very end of the year. Holiday season. A lot of people are away on vacation. A lot of people, major traders, top sort of institutional traders and so on and so forth. Professional traders might be traveling. Liquidity is low, and tax harvesting season is here. So we got to talk about what is going on, because when you really look into it and you realize that this does not say no regulators have explicitly stated that USDT isn't compliant with this standard right here, the MiCA deadline. This is essentially the crypto regulation that they're starting to put into place. That's going to take some many months before this is actually instituted. In fact, 36 months. Those that are already working and have crypto exchanges and crypto trading and crypto products out there, they have some time in order to fall into compliance. And even within that, they have not yet even explicitly said that USDT is out of compliance. So the question is going to be, what is going to happen? What's the time frame? And I do think going between now and the end of the year next week into the first week of next year, this is a perfect opportunity for big players to push the market in the directions they want it to go. And let's be honest, if they're seeing the track record of the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin and for altcoins that we've seen on repeat now, I got the hiccups, for 3 cycles, then it's a great way to drive that FUD forward and get people to sell, to drive the prices lower, to create incredible buying opportunities. It's a dog eat dog world here in these markets. It is vicious, which is why you need to look at the larger picture to understand why markets are doing what they're doing. And you're never going to fully grasp it. Nobody can, but you can figure out what your fundamental plan is in this space, what your time horizon is, what your entry and exit strategies are, so you don't fall victim to this sort of FUD narrative that they're pushing. Now, everybody, as you're tuning in, shout out to everybody that is here. If this is your first time, my name's Kellam here at the BitLab Academy, and I'm here to bring you meaningful tools, content, resources, and most importantly, be a member of this incredible community that we have here at BitLab. Thank you to all our channel partners right here, CoinW with the free traders group that we have down below, Signals Lab. The link is in the description. The link is in the first comment if you're looking over there on Twitter. Of course, nordvpn.com/BitLab if you want 4 months free. And then, of course, Arculus. Head over to getarculus.com to protect your crypto and protect your future. One tap total solutions there for protecting your crypto. Getarculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for 20% off while that code is still available. Now, diving back into this FUD narrative, I think is going to persist a little bit into, unless there's an outright acknowledgement, no, USDT is not out of compliance, then maybe that could actually cause a boom in the market. But there is a little bit of the risk off sort of patient approach right now, because this is pretty major. It's not England or France, or it's Europe. It's the European Union, the EU. Okay. So this could have a little bit of an impact. Now, what could that impact be? Well, it would cause some liquidity pressures. I won't say issues, because we'll yet to see how it plays out. But if all of Europe needs to move out of USDT, we could see a lot of very interesting ways that this affects what's going on with liquidity in the market. In addition to that, there's been FUD nonstop since 2017 on this. So I think this is more of a FUD issue than actual, oh my God, there's any crash from here, any breakdown from here, I think is an incredible opportunity that I would be excited to take advantage of. And I'll leave it there, and let's move on to the next stories. We also have today a record-breaking $18 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expiring. It's the end of the month. It's the end of the quarter. It's the end of the year. And so I do think going into basically finish out this day and going into Sunday, that is going to be a pretty big signal on the chart, what happens with this weekly candle. But remember, Sunday is still, 28th, 29th. We still have 2 days after that, the 30th, 31st, to wrap out this year. Not only the year on the yearly and the monthly charts, but also the fiscal period at which the tax harvesting changes basically gets freed up, that sort of negative speculation or fear speculation in the market, or even selling pressures that could come from it, starts to sort of unwind and go back to normal through the end of the week next week after we wrap this year out. So this is pretty big, $18 billion in options expiring. So let's understand that there's some volatility to be expected. If the market pushed up huge today, I would be very wary of that. I think it would come down before it had any continuation. If it broke down between now and Tuesday next week, I do think that also is a false move. I think any direction it moves right now, we need to be patiently aware that there's a lot of liquidity grabbing in the space right now. Now, continuing on, what else we got? We have also got 2020. Look at this. The market will explode in January, says Ox Nobler. Back in 2020, I invested $500 in altcoins just a week before New Year's. By February, that $500 turned into $125,000. This is what he's talking about, that sell-off that kind of came right into the zone. And then boom, this is altcoins. And I've been showing you that, guys, this. So as we're seeing that pullback, or really it's just a consolidation, as we can see on this chart. Let's actually change the way this is shaped, because this is more of a falling sort of channel here. We're really just in a giant bull flag here. Even if this dropped further, this would represent a huge decline in many of your altcoins, but the structure would still remain quite bullish until we broke down from here. And this would be, for a lot of people, catastrophic, because a lot of people would be panic selling. But all in all, we're still, look at this, we're still holding in the same range that we were back here at the beginning of December, also back here at the end of November. We're still in the same range. Yes, we had a big move up. Yes, we had a big move down, but we're still right in the same range. So be a little bit more patient right now, because when we're looking at this I do think is what's to come. Why is that? Because we're still waiting on Bitcoin. Altcoins are holding up actually relatively well if Bitcoin doesn't fall further. But what is Bitcoin going to do? Well, Bitcoin has broken down from the ascending channel. So this is, oh my God, rising channels tend to break down. So that could be expected, much like we saw back here in early 2024. The breakdown was also observed in early 2024. However, no further decline occurred. In fact, this was jumping out of the window onto a trampoline to launch higher. Is this what's going to play out? Everything's on a razor's edge right now. So I would say be careful and not so overly confident in the bias that you have in this market. Although I'm very bullish for what's to come in Q1, that does not discount that we could not have a larger breakdown before we have that move up. Bitcoin rebounded from this dip, soaring from 38,000 to 73,000 in a short period of time. This is this move right here. Could Bitcoin skyrocket again this time? I think it can. I think we have a pretty high likelihood of doing so, but I would not rule out another washout to the downside, as bullish as I am. Shout out to everybody that's in the room. We got so many people live chatting today, and I always appreciate seeing all you guys and gals active in there. But then when we come back over here, where are the people? Something to look out for. This is from Decode Jar. He said, something I look out for on Bitcoin is the mempool activity, essentially the fees. When you're getting higher fees, you have more activity. When you have lower fees, you have low activity. And ordinals trading volume at the 31K to 73K local tops, these two tops right here, both of these metrics went absolutely nuts. It's this line right here. Fees went very high. Okay. Now coming back, but we're not seeing that right now. Whilst there are currently some additional volume on ordinals, fees are completely flat, suggesting a significant top is not yet in place. So even though I expect this correction to take a little bit more time to resolve, which could mean sideways or down. Corrections aren't just down. It could just be sideways, just boring and chopping the living hell out of everybody. This correction is probably needs a little bit more time to resolve. Ultimately, Bitcoin must go higher. And this is what he's talking about. These fees go up. We had a bit of that correction. Fees go up. And look at where we're at. This is just, the activity is so low right now. In fact, I think that most of the activity in terms of price action to the upside that we've been experiencing is largely in part from the institutional sort of buying and the lack of willingness to sell, because so many people are expecting higher prices. Some of those people probably still need to get shaken out. So understanding that, you realize, okay, price is doing very well right now. We went up to 108. We're holding now in that, chopping in that $90,000 range. Do we need to get this sort of false top, AKA broke down, all the bears say, I told you so, only to just wreck their mom's shop? Continuing on, we're talking about altcoins. Altcoins comeback is near, says Titan of Crypto. In December 2020, altcoins saw a 30% drop, taking 4 weeks to recover before surging. So this period of recovery is also pretty big gains for those that maybe are trading that area or buying that dip, or you might have seen your portfolio drop and you see it come back to essentially that sort of equanimity where it was before the drop. In December 2024, we've basically experienced a 26% drop, and we're now 3 weeks in. So is January that month? This is what we're talking about right here before boom. We had the big sell-off and then the move back up and then launch. And this is a measurement right here. You can see this measurement is what they're measuring right here. And this is a 26% drop and then launch. Right now, sorry, 30% drop. In here, we're about 26%. Could still get a little more. Very similar. Even if we got 40%, all this would still be remaining in a very bullish structure. So we need to stop being so damn impatient, because when you look back, you realize it all played out in due time. But when you're sitting here on a daily basis, looking at the charts every day on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour, on the daily, on the weekly, sometimes you just overstress yourself with every bit of movement that's happening or not happening, or what you want to happen is different. Patience, young Padawan. Regardless of how old you are in this space, you have an age, you have a birthday on which you got into this space, an amount of time that you really understand. Even if you came from traditional markets, these markets move so much faster, and yet people still feel like, oh my God, why isn't it moving? Man, we just had major gains back here. We had another huge gains here. Small corrective movement, and we're losing our minds. So let's be a little bit more patient. Now, continuing on, what do we see? In the past 2 cycles, alt season started exactly after Christmas, aka January. If the cycle repeats, it's your last chance to buy before altcoins rally. Now, who's to say they're going to drop more? I think in some alts, you're probably still going to be able to get better prices. But we are on essentially a lottery system every hour right now, with where we're at in the market cycle, with where we're at in the year, with where we're at in the world acceptance that is starting to flow in from this new administration that's not yet inaugurated in the US. So we have to be aware of that. But this could break at any time, meaning just start running away. Will we get that bigger drop? I still think that a washout is due, but my holdings, I'm approaching like I'm not going to move. I'm not touching any of my major holdings right now. I will take positions and add to positions if things drop, but there's no telling when this breaks out. So this is what he's talking about. Back here, Christmas, I'll take my face off. This is that move 2016, big sort of correction here. Look at this, not only a down dip correction, but also sideways and then launch. Now you can see this as well. Push up, look at this sideways correction, making everybody just lose their minds. And then once the pump is put in basically the liquidity pump is put in these markets, it's just off to the races. And look at how similar this is right now. Now, again, can we get a little bit more of a correction? Yes. And we need to be prepared if it were to happen. Not to sell. None of this is financial advice. This is just strategies I've seen and market cycle structures I've seen over the last 10 years that I've had in these markets. Where we're at right now, I'm taking advantages of any dips, but I'm not doing anything and changing my positions for the stuff that I'm currently holding. Now, continuing on, this is where we're at. Remember yesterday we had these 2 sort of ping pong zones looking at the liquidity in the markets. Essentially higher liquidity above us, meaning people that had shorted, this is their liquidation levels. The people that had longed, this is their liquidation levels, where all this bunched up right in these 2 zones. And look, came out, cleared it. Some more people longed, came down, cleared them. Now we kind of a little bit more clear look on this on the 24-hour, but what does it look on the weekly? Let's get a better look over here on FOMO.io. And yeah, I mean, there's still a decent amount of liquidity that comes down below us all the way to 92, but no super hot zones. There's a little bit of a hot zone that pops up here about 97.6 and then up here at $100,000. Again, if we clear this, as I've shown you on the charts, I do think that we'll get a bit more move to the upside. But when we look at Bitcoin right now as it stands, we do have this very ugly potential head and shoulders, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of people talking about. Very kind of ugly, but you cannot ignore this sort of rounding top, low, lower low. You see how this low here is lower than this one, lower high from these 2 points. If this does fall and lose this, I do think we're coming to 85, a chance for a pit stop. And then the next level is going to be down here, basically between 77 and $77,000 and $80,000. And as I have pointed out to you all, here on the, let's go ahead and remove those just to make sure it stays clean. As I have pointed out to you guys, CME futures gap and the golden pocket from this move up to, this actually has changed now. This was this was a low, this was a high, this would have been the golden pocket, but now we have to adjust accordingly. And look at that. This goes right into that box at 81 to 82,000. And that's important because that puts us right well within that target zone of this shoulder, head, shoulder. We're measuring from the head all the way down to the neckline. Break that out. And this basically shows that the target goes right into where the gap is. The golden pocket is just above this. And this is perfectly right where, look, a little bit of chop zone right in here. If the price does come down and lose this $85,000 to $86,000 zone right here, and it can't bounce here, I think that this will probably not only touch this golden pocket, but flush in and fill in the CME gap. But again, this is all speculation right now. We have been seeing bearish structures form in these charts that convince people it's going to happen, only to start the move and reverse, trap those people, come up and have that move. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what I'm illustrating is over the past about 2 months, 3 months, we've been seeing a regular sort of pattern setup that does break the direction the pattern suggests, but it doesn't go to fulfillment. It doesn't go all the way to the target. It commits people and then wrecks them. We've seen it with bull with bull patterns as well as bear patterns in these markets right now. So when we're looking at this, just let's actually zoom in on this just on the 2 hour. This is look, it's a downtrend. Down, higher, down. We got a little bit of a rounding bottom right here, but then look at this. This can't even clear this previous range and then rejects down. Currently, we're kind of on I don't want to say a last ditch effort, but we're currently still kind of rounding out. If this loses this kind of level that we're at right now, and we realize we're really flirting with, I don't want to say disaster, but a bearish sort of continuation. What is up, Kelly? What is the BitLab? What's up, BitLab family? Multi-sig dummy, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you in here. But we do, if this cannot hold this sort of higher low right here, look at this. We're sitting right on the edge of, this zone that we've had marked out. If this comes down to this area, loses these 2 lows, then I do think we're going to be coming down fairly quickly to this 85K. And again, if we can't hold that, then down to that $81,000 to $77,000. Now, does that hurt your feelings? I'm sorry if it does, but we see what's coming. Let it do the work to get there. And you'll be proud when the market resolves in the way that the data has been showing us for many months. Now, when we come over here and we look at Ethereum, we talked about this as well. And a lot of the altcoins are having very similar patterns. In fact, this is kind of starting to, this is kind of irrelevant now, but let's go. It's kind of, there we go. So now we have from these lows right here, bounce here, rejection. And look, the breakdown out of this, come up, retest. If this loses this area that it's at right now, then Ethereum is coming down to 3220-ish. And if that's lost, then we're coming down to 3,000. And as I've outlined this on the shows the last couple of days, if we lose this 3,000, and then I think we may be getting another opportunity at 2,800. Now that will frustrate a lot of people. Let the market play out how it plays out. I think traditional memes are dead narrative. All that liquidity will be flowing to utility coins, and things like Popcat, Dog, etc. are going to drop like a rock. Maybe, but also probably depends a little bit on what type of holder has those different coins. If it's something on like Solana, where it's just the very quick in and out people that are panic and hype buyers and sellers, then yes, definitely so. But then you have different type of holders, I think, and I could be wrong, but different type of holders in things like Dog, which are a little bit more Bitcoin focused. There's different players that are starting to come in now as this is gaining more attention. However, there's still a huge number, like 90,000, that were sort of in the Bitcoin ecosystem narrative type folks that are still holders and basically just a different type of player than a meme coin holder in Solana. So it's all yet to be seen. We need to pay attention to this. But if this does drop and comes down and loses basically 0.005, 0.0049, this golden pocket of this move, I think anywhere down here would be an excellent acquisition. Of course, not financial advice, just strategy advice. And why is that? It's because of the way that this this coin is set up, the way this coin is set up in terms of every token is out. There's nearly 100,000. It might even be over 100,000 holders already of this. It's not listed on any tier 1 exchanges, and yet it's performed better than some of the top meme coins that we've seen in the last 2 months or so, in terms, especially when the prices fell. This held up better. It's a different type of holder that it's in this, but we'll have to see. And it does tap that liquidity within the Bitcoin ecosystem. I think the market right now is waiting on the risk on metric to really start sending things flying in January, February, March. So this is something I'm holding, and I'm just kind of letting the market do the work of when that risk on narrative comes out, because I do think that we're going to be seeing significantly higher prices on this when the liquidity starts flowing into the market. But then we come back over here and look at things like, let's look at the ETH to Bitcoin chart. Okay, we had this this is irrelevant now. This low right here, look, kind of deviation, broke below, but kind of is holding the support. If this loses this area, we've got a pretty deep way to fall for ETH to Bitcoin. This is ETH as it is compared to Bitcoin, meaning priced in Bitcoin. If this falls, then this means if you're holding ETH, then you're losing more value, right? Might be a dollar amount, but if Bitcoin's holding up better, then holding Bitcoin when this is falling suggests that Bitcoin is holding more value. That's what you're seeing when you're looking at any of your altcoins priced in Bitcoin. So if this does fall, then the altcoins in general probably losing a pretty substantial, pretty big losses against their valuation in Bitcoin. And for instance, the altcoin portfolio that we've been stacking together, I look at this almost every day. I come over here and I look at this in valuation of Bitcoin. Okay. I don't want to be holding a bunch of altcoins if my valuation, the value of those altcoins against Bitcoin is going down or I see it going down for a persistent period of time. That's not the goal. Now, this got up to about 1.3, 1.4 Bitcoin. Yes, it has been going down for this period, but these are also positions that we entered that I broke down with you guys over there in the BitLab Discord for the BitLab Academy members, where we talk about what's going on in the portfolio and charts and signals and all this. But this portfolio specifically, I built with basically people that want a little bit more relaxed way to organize this. And we started stacking into this in February. And the goal is to hold all the way through sometime minimum past February, so we have that 1 year capital gains. So it's long-term held versus short-term held, but then also little de-stress. There's going to be swings, but the goal is to see this, quite a bit exponentially higher, and also seeing that valuation in Bitcoin. Also, hopefully my target for this would be this getting up to about, somewhere between 2.4 and 3.5 Bitcoin when we take profits, meaning that's my conviction on the altcoin market surging here in Q1. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's what we're doing, and that's what I'm breaking down with all of you. I've been stacking into virtuals on dips because I'm really bullish on virtuals. The AI agent narrative may be huge, says Big D Trump. Thank you for that comment there. Yeah, virtuals has been actually, I don't think I've ever charted this. So let's look at virtuals. 3 days. Newer coin, boom, right there. That was the breakout point from there. Look at this giant bull flag. Look at this, boom, from here all the way up into here. And it's 2/3 of the way there, almost up there. A lot of people take profits before the final target of a pattern, by the way. And you can see this there's a little bit of weakening coming in here. This is on the 3-day chart, not a very old protocol. So let's get down to like the 6 hour and realize what is going on. Beautiful bull flag right here, bull pennant. See this? Look at that. Beautiful. This is just absolutely beautiful. Now, if you actually measure this, how this played out, that would be the actual thing. And look at that. This has come almost exactly to the target. That's why understanding patterns, understanding candles, understanding indicators and strategies is so important. So remember, we are under $100,000 Bitcoin. So that deal is still live. If you want to get in and learn candles, patterns, indicators, on-chain data, how to organize your portfolio, have access to the Discord, all that, it's right there on that link, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com /deal. Now we see this pattern, boom, broke out, come right up into it, starting to show a little bit of weakness. I would not be surprised if there is some sort of, pullback that really starts to flow into the market, because we do see this starting to round out a bit. If this does break down, the first target I'm looking at is about right here, which is boom, right here, option J. This is where this bounce, this is where this previous top was. This is where I'd be watching. If this is lost, the next target down I'd be looking is about right there. These lows right in this zone, $1.25. And if that's lost, then I do think we have a pretty much larger spill. And that is pretty substantial. I mean, from that point to that point, that's an 80% drop. Do I think that's happening? Do I think it's likely, I should say? No, I don't think this is likely. But remember, these smaller market cap coins, when the ball does start to fall bearish, there tends to be a huge amount of liquidity that's taken out of those, which it's a lot easier to move these down. Now, this is not the target I'd be looking at. I'd be watching for a potentially, if this does pull back somewhere in this zone, that's a 40% pullback. That is very, that would wreck a lot of people. Now, on a nearer term, we could also look at this right here, which is a little bit, say we have just a small dip in the market, sort of, nothing that's cataclysmic. That's still about a 16% drop. And what we're doing is we're looking right here to this low, which is also right at where this previous high was. So that's what I'd be looking at on virtuals. Yeah. But Algorand also, nice move to the upside. Positive speculation about potential no capital gains for these American crypto, but that's still only speculation. This did have the deviation down. It's going to break out. It's come right back. So I'd be watching for this to come down to this sort of target that we have right here, which is about 31 cents. We have negative money flow. Stochastics look like they're trying to round out, but this is not, this is, if we get the fake out on Bitcoin and the crypto market, then I could see this potentially, here or at this point forming this higher low, finding some support and then cruising up. But if this level is lost, I do think this is going to come down a bit lower. Roughly, this would be my next target, about 24 cents. And then the target below that would be a little bit, basically low 20s for Algorand. If this is able to hold here and we get some, the USDT thing, it's not out of compliance in the European Union, with the MiCA regulations, that if that announcement's made, I think we'll likely see a little bit of jolt in the market. If that's the case, and look at this. This is kind of looking like a head and shoulders as well. Not entirely, but kind of. But if this does break out, we really want to see it back above 36 cents. And then the next target up we're watching is up here about 41 cents. And then likely from there, it could stand a chance to continue higher. AAVE also been in the news a lot lately with the Trump buys, with some of the stuff going on with Polygon. And when we understand that, shout out Ninja Fourth. Shout out everybody that's here. I see so many. I see all y'all's comments and your names, and I know y'all's PFPs. And so I know when people are here regularly, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. Am I watching a DeSci project? Says Big Tip Sharp. Yeah, I'll pull it up here in a sec. But this is look at this. Nice pump, range, wash people out, Trump pump we see here. And then look, kind of falling back down. If this does continue losing, I'd be looking for an opportunity about 297. The next level down would be right below that, about 284. And if that's lost, then I think we're going to be seeing a bigger spill. But if this can hold, because right now this does look, oh, it lost it. Look at that. It lost that, lost it. So yeah, I'm looking for a target down a little bit lower, right down basically at the $300 mark. That's where I'd be watching that. Unless, negative money flow. This does look like it's trying to bottom, but remember, prices regularly do this, come up, retest, and then drop. So if this does start to reverse, be aware that it might be trying to trick you. You'd want to see this come up. You'd want to see the price action come up, break through this, find support, and then have the continuation. Now, the DeSci project that I got involved with, and I've shared it with the BitLab community, is Research Coin. This is Brian Armstrong, one of the CEO of Coinbase. He is a part of this, and this is not yet, to my knowledge, I don't believe is it. Let's look. What we do, I don't know where to buy it. Kelly, where do I buy it? I don't want any of you ever to ask that again. I want you all to point this out to people nicely. Point this out to people. Say, go to CoinMarketCap, search the coin, And then all you have to do, look, click on markets or just scroll down. It shows you this is where you can buy it. Uniswap, Gate.io, XT, KSEX, CoinEx, Uniswap, Ourbit. What do you not notice there? Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, OKX, CoinW. So the point being here is, if this has one of the most important people in the crypto ecosystem, Brian Armstrong, CZ and Brian Armstrong, to the, CZ is no longer the CEO of Binance, but founder of Binance, ex-CEO. These people, what they do carries huge sway in the markets. And this is not yet listed on Coinbase. I can imagine at some point in the future, it will get listed on there. So you're taking advantage. Look at this, $100 million market cap. So that was kind of my reasoning behind what's going on there with adding this to the portfolio. So what does it look like in the market? So let's zoom out a little bit, double click on this to minimize the indicators. Excuse me. Large symmetrical triangle, broke out, came back, retested again. This is actually holding up relatively well. If this is lost, I'd be watching for the price action to come right into this zone right here. Why? Let's go ahead and move that down. Because of this rejection and then this support. If this is lost, I'd be watching basically 79 cents right there. And then 78, 79 cents. The next, and if this does come down in this zone, I would be expecting it to come down here in these mid 60s. If it loses that, then it could be coming much further down, which would, yeah, let's look at this. Now that we're zooming out. So you can see now with these two major rejections back here in April, you can tell why there's a little bit more support here, why it's bouncing on this. If this is lost, I'm looking for 77, 78 cents. If that's lost, I'm looking for 66, 65. And that's on Research Coin. Now, Caspa, where are my Caspa holders at? We haven't looked at Caspa lately. Look at that. Just blood, just bleeding. Excuse me. And what do we see here? Start noticing patterns and see a the repetition of patterns. Look at this. Large move, a little bit smaller move, a little bit small. And you see how it's kind of leaning? And the tops, because they're not making, this was from here to here is a lot of movement. From here to here is not so much. From here to here is not so much. This gives you that rounding top that we talk about. This basically illustrates the weakening of bullish momentum. If bullish momentum is weakening, that means bearish momentum is gaining strength. That's what we need to realize. Now, what do we see when this happens? We have not only the roundingness of the weakening of the bullish momentum, but then I'm trying to select and delete. There we go. But then we also see this pushing up. Look at this, head and shoulder right here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Now, price comes right back down to it. And then as soon as this neckline is lost, look, boom, down. Now, was it telegraphed? Well, the chart was telling us the bulls are losing steam. Prepare for a potential bearish move. And then look at that. The target overshot just a little bit, but basically came down. This was telling you. You had the run up to this pattern, which is the smaller movements coming up and it kind of leaning over, as well as it finishing itself right here with a head and shoulders. And this is on the 12-hour chart. Now it's come down. It's found a base currently that is a little bit higher low. So that's good. We got negative money flow though. And this is what I'm watching right here. See this VWAP? It's kind of crossed back across the zero line, kind of finding support. So maybe you're saying there's a chance. Maybe so. It's all going to depend on these next couple days. But look at this 4-hour negative money flow. It's trying to round itself back up, which we'll be able to see. Look at that. Tried to, starting to expand again to the downside. Now on the 1 hour, yeah, it's just choppy. So everything's waiting on that signal from what's happening. One, with what's going on with USDT in 3 days, but then also the end of the year. But then we still have a little bit of hesitation. Still, as exciting as things can be between now and January 20th, we still need to realize, I do think there's going to be some market movement and volatility around all those things that are wrapped into that. Because everybody's expecting, because we have a full administration that's coming in that's all crypto focused, it doesn't mean shit's happening on day one. We might get acknowledgments. Oh, well, this might not be possible for a year. Oh, well, this can't happen because there's going to be political jockeying, and all that's going to have an impact on what's happening in the crypto market. So we need to be aware of that when we're looking to, what our expectations are. It's not like, oh, we have a crypto friendly admin, so everything's just going to be ultra bull. Well, there's going to be, there's a lot of things that need to get implemented. So let's be patient here. Let's let the market do what it's going to do. In fact, let's look at BNB as well before we go. We haven't looked at this one lately. BNB, let's delete this old lines. All right, let's go to the daily. Performing relatively well comparatively with what we're seeing across the rest of the market. Had the ascending triangle, meaning rising level of support, flat level of resistance. Look, broke out, found support, pushed up, and we're kind of testing the zone. If this does break down, I'm watching for 660 as a target from all these highs right here, option J. That gives you that horizontal ray. If this is lost, then I do think we're going to come back into this zone right here. Basically the 620s to low 600s. Of course, if that's lost, then it's going to go much lower. But the things are lining up. Let's not be so impatient. Let's find some gratitude for, the fact that we're even aware of this market, the fact that we're interested enough to go and find YouTube videos or educate ourselves, get involved with BitLab Academy over at lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Take advantage of that while you can. Or watch a ton of YouTube, read stuff, figure this out because, I'm grateful all of you are here. I'm grateful that you are setting yourself up to change the course of what your family's future can be. And I'm grateful that I have my arms and my legs and my health. And I'm grateful for all this. It's Friday, December 27th. We're not quite at the end of the year, but we're right there, everybody. Let's not mess this up. Let's find gratitude on stressful days. Let's find love in our hearts for ourselves. Let's give love to other people. Let's not be trolls online. And with that, let's head over to the blockchain basement, show some love. And I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you so much. I don't think I missed any super chats. No, okay, all good. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Adios, muchachos.